to really understand the full scope of it before you draw a conclusion to it. There's a story told about two angels that were traveling. And these two angels came to rest at a wealthy family's house. And they asked the wealthy family if they would allow them to spend the night. They were tired and they needed to eat something and they needed to rest. And this house was a huge mansion. And the wealthy people were extremely rude, and they told the angels, you know, you cannot eat with us, we won't give you any food, but you can stay here, but you have to sleep in our cold basement, and you have to sleep on the floor, that's all we have. So as they were preparing for bed, one of the angels saw a hole in the wall and went over and prepared the hole for the owners of the house. The younger angel said, I don't understand why you're doing that. These people have been rude to us. And the older angel said, things aren't always as they seem to be. The next night they came to rest at a farmer and his wife's home, and these people were very friendly. Not only did they take them in and fed them, they gave up their own bed so that the angels could get a good night's rest, only to find out the next morning that the farmer and his wife were standing in their field crying because their cow had died during the night. And the young angel was infuriated by this. How could you let this happen? The other family was rude to us, and yet and they had everything, and yet you fixed something for them. This family had nothing, and they gave us everything, but you let their cow die. I don't understand this. The older angel said, things aren't always as they seem. You see, the wealthy family had everything, but they didn't appreciate the value of their wealth. And as I looked in the hole in the wall, I saw a pot of gold. And knowing that they didn't appreciate wealth, I covered the hole so they wouldn't see that they had more wealth. And last night as we were sleeping, the angel of death came for the farmer's wife. And I gave him the cow instead. Now, how many times in life have we drawn a conclusion about something without fully knowing the whole story? And I've got to tell you, I'm not a good example of this either. I tend to draw conclusions pretty fast about people and situations. And thank goodness I have a beautiful wife that constantly reminds me to slow down, get the whole story, understand these people better before you draw a conclusion about them. You know, we change a lot of things in our organization. We've got new processes, we've got new policies, we've got new people. And all of these things can bring about anxiety, and I understand that. But if you don't get the full story behind all the things that are going on in our organization, it tends to create negative feelings about you and about the company. And if they're good changes, we run a much lower risk of them being successful if people don't understand the story and they begin to resist them. But if you'll stop a minute and you'll ask questions and you'll seek to understand, then you'll be much happier with the organization. And if it's a bad thing that we're doing, we can fix it much faster. And if it's a good thing, it stands a much higher risk of being successful. You know, I think one of the greatest myths in life and in our culture today is that somehow or another we are entitled to a great life, that someone, somewhere, somebody else is responsible for the things that we experience. That somebody owes me an exciting career path, that somebody owes me a great relationship, that ought to just have good health and good looks or whatever just because. But if you want good things to happen in your life, who do you think owns that responsibility? You do. I do. There's a movie called Jerry Maguire. In that movie, there's an actor, his name, the fictitious name is Rod Tidwell. He's the football player. Rod Tidwell seems to think that the world owes him. He's quite a talented player, by the way, but for some reason his career isn't moving as fast as he thinks it ought to, in the direction that he thinks it ought to, and nobody seems to respect him. And Rod's pretty frustrated about that, and he shares that, and Jerry gives him a little pep talk about what he needs to focus on. So let's play that video, if you don't mind.
Quan. That's your word?
Hell yeah, that's my word. You know, some dudes might have the coin, but they'll never have the quan.
What is...
It means love, respect, community, and the dollars too, the entire package, though. Quan.
I have a question for you, bud. Are we really friends?
Why not?
I mean, because friends can tell each other anything if we have our friends' hats on, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. I'll tell you why you don't have your $10 million yet. 'Cause right now, you are a paycheck player. You play with your head, not your heart. In your personal life, heart. But when you get on the field, it's all about what you didn't get, who's to blame, who underthrew the pass, who's got the contract you don't, who's not giving you your love. And you know what? That is not what inspires people. That is not what inspires people. Just shut up. Play the game. Play it from your heart. And you know what? I will show you the Quan. And that's the truth, man. That's the truth. Can you handle it? It's just a question between friends. You know? Oh, and when they call you shrimp, I'm the one who defends you.
I want to be friends no more.
Fine.
You know, early on in my career, I was very fortunate enough to have a manager that played a significant impact on my life. And at the time, he probably was making the most impact on me than anybody that I knew. I was working for a finance company out of Charleston and was producing pretty good results for the company, but I just didn't feel like my career was moving at the pace that it ought to. And sensing my frustration, he came to me one day and said, "Rick, do you take 100% responsibility for your life?" And I said, "I think so." And he said, "Son, that's not a think so question. It's a yes or no question. Do you take 100% responsibility for your life?" I said, "Well, I guess." He said, "You still don't get the point, do you?" So let me ask you a question. Have you ever complained about anything? Or have you ever blamed anybody else or anything else for a circumstance that's happened in your life? My answer was, well, yes. He said, "Well, then you do not take 100% responsibility for your life." He said, "You see, Rick, if you're ever going to achieve happiness in life, if you're ever going to achieve real success, then you need to understand this principle, that everything that happens to you is owned by you. That you can uncreate and recreate your circumstances at will to make them work the way you want them to make them work." That was another defining moment in my life. You see, we only have control over a few things in our life, don't we? One is our thoughts, the other is our reactions to those thoughts. Well, Mr. Tidwell finally figures it out. And I want to show the remaining part of that clip of what happens to his life after he figures it out.
Arizona 14. Tidwell in motion, moving back to his left now. Play fake. Swenson protected well, lost one to the end zone. Yes!
He's not getting up. And boy, look at the faces of these Cardinal players now as all of a sudden elation turns into concern for their fallen teammate.
Cardinal trainer comes racing out onto the field as Tidwell makes his 9th catch of the night and gives Arizona the lead.
Hey, Brad, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Do you know where you are, Rod?
Well, you can see the trainer still trying to revive Rod Tidwell. You'd love to see some movement.
Rod?
Let's get him off the field. Get the gurney.
No.
Get the gurney. Let's get him off the field now.
No, wait. Just let me enjoy this for a minute.
Well, you're looking for any type of movement out of Rod Tidwell at all, and is that his head coming up, I see?
He's going to try to get up. And he is getting up.
Actually, we have some very good news for you. This has just been handed to me. A memo, it's signed, it's a contract, guaranteed. Arizona Cardinals, 4 years, $11.2 million. You're going to get to play in Arizona, where it all started, finish up your career in Arizona. What do you think of that?
Tyson, my baby, my new baby, Katie. Wait, Roy, I'm forgetting somebody. Jerry Maguire, my agent. You are my ambassador of Quan, man.
Rod, thank you so much. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Now, I'm not going to tell you you're going to get an $11 million contract. But it is amazing. I take it from somebody that's been doing this a long time. It is amazing how opportunities and promotions and compensation and life tends to work out for people who ultimately assume responsibility, their own responsibility for their lives. You know, every day in some way you are a part of a team. The question is not whether you're going to participate in something that involves others. The question is, will your involvement with others be successful? You know, teamwork is essential. There's just no getting around it. And some pretty incredible things can happen when you take a group of average people, get them passionate about a common purpose, get them focused on what the goal looks like, share the same beliefs. It's amazing what you can accomplish. Look at the U.S. hockey team. They were the last ranked. What about the San Francisco Giants that won the World Series this year? You know, what was interesting about them winning the World Series is that they had no superstars on that team. They had no power hitters. They had no superstars. All they had was aging veterans and a bunch of rookies. But the story's been told over and over about that team, about how committed they were to the organization, about how passionate they were about the game of baseball. And they ultimately won the greatest championship you could ever win. Now, I'm convinced we have one of the best teams in banking. I am convinced that we have one of the best business models in the Southeast. I know you believe in what we're trying to accomplish, and I know this recession's been hard on you. But it's time for us to recapture what's made this company a great company. Now, I don't want to downplay what we've accomplished today, and I'm not trying to say that things are really horrible around here. We've got a pretty amazing culture. Our culture is still very strong today, but it's certainly shown some signs of being fatigued and fractured, and I'm just making sure that we communicate today the awareness of that so that we don't let it digress to a point where we cannot get it turned around. It's time for us to heal now, because we will not have any better opportunity to drive this company forward than we do now. You know, Any Given Sunday is one of my favorite movies. And toward the end of that movie, Al Pacino gives a speech about healing as a team. And we're landing the plane, by the way, so pay close attention to the next few minutes and pay close attention to this video. Thank you.
I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes till the biggest battle of our professional lives. All comes down to today. Either we heal as a team, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me. And we can stay here, get kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm too old. I look around, I see these young faces, and I think, I made every wrong choice a middle-aged man can make. I pissed away all my money, believe it or not. I chased off anyone who's ever loved me. And lately, I can't even stand the face I see in the mirror. You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's going to make the difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's going to win that inch. And I know if I'm going to have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because that's what living is. There's 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You got to look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're going to see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're going to see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're going to do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. That's football, guys. That's all it is. Now, what are you going to do?
You see, winning is an inside job. And in my opinion, the team that wins is going to be the team that wins its internal battles first. So what are you going to do? This is your company, it's not mine. I can keep the vision clear. I can keep the obstacles out of the way. I can look around the next corner for the next opportunity. I can remove the landmines, but I can't do this for you. So what are you going to do? You know, you can't get somebody to do your push-ups for you. If you're going to get any benefit from them, you've got to do them yourself. I've given you a roadmap here, and you're the one that's going to have to drive the car. I promise you this, the economy or outside influences will not determine the success of our organization. That will only be determined by you. That will only be determined by your commitment to our purpose, your belief in our values, the strength in our culture, and each of us taking 100% responsibility for our part in that. Now, I've asked you to tell me what my responsibility was, and you've given me a list, and I know my marching orders for the year. And I've tried to communicate to you what I think we all as a group and as individuals need to work on. You can be assured I'm going to go leave here and I'm going to work on what you've asked me to work on, and I know I can count on you to do the same. So I need you to do this for me. As you go home and you think about what I've talked to you about today and you get back in the office next week, I want each of you, everybody in this room, to write down 2 things that you think you can change about your own self that would benefit you and benefit the team. And I'm not talking about improving customer service. I'm talking about improving a skill set, changing my attitude, apologizing to a coworker, talking more with my supervisor. Things that ultimately impact the culture of our organization. And then I want you to write those down and I want you to send them to me. And I don't want them to be anonymous. I want you to put your name on them. Because sometime over the next year, maybe we'll get a chance to sit down and we can talk about my progress and we can also talk about yours. Do I have your commitment? Yes. I heard 8 of you. Yes. One more time, please. Yes. There we go. Thank you. You know, Coach Herb Brooks once said that out of great moments is born great opportunities. And what we have here is a great moment. The economy has positioned us to take advantage of a lot of people who aren't focusing on the things that we're focusing on. There is no team out there that I believe to be better than ours. So I'm confident when the dust clears and we stay focused on what we need to stay focused on, we're going to come out winners. Thank you all for listening and have a good day.